There are some stories that spread across the internet because they are cute. And then there are stories that spread because they hurt to watch. This is one of those stories. In a zoo in Japan, a baby monkey named Punch has captured the hearts of millions, not because he was doing something funny, not because he was performing for cameras, but because he looked painfully alone. Small, frightened, vulnerable, and almost always holding tightly to a stuffed toy. The videos of Punch went viral after people saw him being chased, dragged, and pushed around by older monkeys inside his enclosure. In one clip, he clutches a soft toy as he tries to move away from a larger macaque. In another, he looks like he's searching for safety, only to be pushed aside again. And in one of the most heartbreaking moments, he runs behind a rock, hugging his toy, trying to hide. For many viewers, the reaction was immediate. They called it bullying. They called it cruelty. They asked the same question again and again. Why is no one helping him? But the truth behind Punch's story is far more complex and far more emotional than most people realized. Because Punch wasn't just being seen in a difficult moment. He was trying to survive life in a social world he entered at a terrible disadvantage. And it all started when his mother abandoned him. Punch is a Japanese macaque, sometimes called a snow monkey, a species known for intelligence, social complexity, and strict group hierarchies. He was born in July at Ichikawa Zoo in Japan. At that age, baby macaques usually do one thing almost immediately after birth. They cling to their mothers. That contact is not optional. It's not just for comfort. It's how they develop strength, how they feel safe, how they nurse, how they learn, how they begin to understand the social rules of the group around them. A baby monkey doesn't just need food. A baby monkey needs a body to hold on to. But Punch didn't have that. According to reports from the zoo, Punch was abandoned by his mother not long after birth. For people watching online, that part was hard to process. A mother abandoning her baby feels deeply unnatural through human eyes. But primate experts say that while it is unusual, it can happen. And when it does, there are often reasons that humans don't immediately see. One of the key details in Punch's case is this. His mother was a first-time mother. That matters. Inexperienced mothers can sometimes struggle with infant care, especially in stressful conditions. And Punch was born during a heat wave. Zoo staff and experts suggested that the extreme heat may have created a high-stress environment, making it harder for her mother to cope. In situations like this, primatologists explain a mother may prioritize her own survival and future reproduction, especially if the infant is weak, stressed, or the environment feels unstable. It sounds harsh, but in the animal world, survival decisions are not guided by human ideas of fairness. They are guided by pressure, stress, instinct, and biological limits. Still, understanding it scientifically does not make it easier to watch, because what came next was the image that would define Punch's story: a baby monkey with nothing to cling to. When Punch was abandoned, the zookeepers at Ichikawa Zoo faced a difficult challenge. A young macaque without maternal contact is not just emotionally distressed, he is developmentally at risk. Baby Japanese macaques build muscle strength by holding on to their mother's body. They regulate fear through touch. They learn social behavior by staying physically close to an adult who protects and guides them. Without that anchor, Punch had no one to grip, no body to press against, no fur to hold. So the keepers tried to find something, anything that could help. At first, they experimented with rolled towels in different thicknesses. They were trying to create an object he could hold on to, something with shape, something with softness, something that might mimic, even slightly, the physical comfort of contact. Eventually, they introduced a stuffed orangutan toy, and Punch took to it immediately. He carried it, held it tightly, pressed it against his body, and from that point on, the toy became more than just an object. It became his comfort, his support, his attachment. Zookeeper Kosuke Shikano later explained that the team chose the toy not only because Punch needed something to grip, but also because they hoped a monkey-like shape might help him feel more secure and possibly even help with social reintegration later. To many people online, the toy was devastating to see. It looked like a substitute for something no toy could replace, and in many ways, that's exactly what it was. Primate experts later said the toy may be functioning as an attachment figure for Punch, a source of emotional security in the absence of his mother. At around 6 months old, a macaque still needs nursing and close contact. A toy cannot feed him. It cannot teach him how to behave in a macaque troop, but it can offer something very basic and very important, a sense of comfort, something to hold when fear rises, something familiar in a world that feels unpredictable. And for Punch, that may be the difference between panic and stability, at least for now. Then came the videos, the ones that spread around the world, the ones that made people cry, the ones that made people angry. In early clips, Punch was seen wandering with the stuffed toy while older monkeys approached him roughly. He was pushed, chased, dragged, and because he was so small, and because he was always holding that toy, the scenes hit people hard. It didn't look like ordinary animal behavior to viewers. It looked like a child being targeted. And social media did what social media does. It gave the story a label: baby monkey bullied. The phrase spread quickly. People shared the clips with captions full of outrage and heartbreak. Some demanded the zoo intervene immediately. Others blamed the monkeys. Others blamed captivity. Others blamed people filming instead of helping. But experts looking at the footage urged caution, because what humans describe as bullying is not always how primate behavior works. Primatologist Alison Behe explained that the interactions being called bullying were not necessarily abnormal at all. In fact, they may have been part of regular macaque social behavior. Japanese macaques live in highly structured groups with strict matrilineal hierarchies. That means rank is heavily shaped by family lines. Higher-ranking families assert dominance over lower-ranking members. Aggression, pushing, chasing, and physical correction can all be part of normal social interactions. To a human, it looks cruel. To a macaque, it may be simply hierarchy. This is an important distinction, not because it makes Punch's situation less serious, but because it changes what help should look like. If Punch is being exposed to normal social behavior, then complete separation from the troop may not solve the problem. It may actually make his long-term integration harder. But there is one major issue, a serious one, and it has to do with what Punch is not learning. In a macaque troop, a mother does more than protect her infant. She teaches him how to survive socially. She helps him understand where he stands. She models how to respond to dominant individuals. She helps him read signals. She helps him learn the subtle, critical behaviors that prevent conflict from escalating. When to move away, when to submit, when to avoid eye contact, when to stay close, how to be tolerated, how to belong. Behe pointed out something deeply important in Punch's case. Even if Punch had not been abandoned, he probably still would have faced aggression from other monkeys. That part may be normal. But without his mother, he may not learn the proper subordinate responses he needs to show, and that could affect him for years. In other words, the bigger concern is not just what's happening to Punch right now.
It's what happens later if he grows up without learning the social language of his own species. That's what makes Punch's story so difficult. Because from the outside, people want a simple answer: rescue him, separate him, protect him. But inside a social primate group, things are rarely that simple. Too much intervention can disrupt the very learning he needs. Too little intervention can leave him overwhelmed. And somewhere in the middle, zookeepers have to make decisions in real time, balancing welfare, development, and group dynamics while the whole world watches. For a brief moment, it looked like Punch's story might be changing. New footage emerged showing another monkey grooming him, staying close, comforting him. The internet breathed, just for a second. People who had been following his videos saw hope. Maybe